In Rebel Ideas, Matthew Syed offers a deep exploration into the concept of cognitive diversity and its transformative potential in problem-solving, innovation, and societal progress. The central thesis of the book is that the most groundbreaking solutions and advancements come not from individual genius, but from groups of people who bring a range of different perspectives, experiences, and thought processes to the table. Cognitive diversity refers to diversity of thought, and Syed argues that it is this diversity that fuels creativity and innovation. Syed opens the book with a compelling and tragic example of the September 11, 2001 attacks. He discusses how the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, despite having substantial resources and highly intelligent personnel, failed to prevent the attacks. This failure, Syed explains, was not due to a lack of data or talent, but a lack of diversity in thinking. The CIA, composed primarily of individuals with similar educational backgrounds and life experiences, missed key warning signs because they all approached problems in the same way. This homogeneity in thought, Syed argues, limited their ability to foresee the unconventional methods used by the terrorists. The failure of the CIA, Syed points out, is just one example of a larger problem. Across organizations, industries, and even societies, homogeneity in thinking creates echo chambers, stifles creativity, and prevents the discovery of rebel ideas. Those radical, outside-the-box ideas that challenge the status quo and lead to real transformative change. In contrast, when diverse groups come together, they bring different perspectives, ways of thinking, and problem-solving approaches. This diversity of thought allows groups to see problems in new ways, identify blind spots, and come up with innovative solutions that would be impossible for a homogeneous group to conceive. Syed's book is a call to action for leaders, organizations, and individuals to embrace cognitive diversity. He argues that by creating environments where diverse perspectives are valued and encouraged, we can unlock the power of rebel ideas and, in doing so, make better decisions, innovate more effectively, and build a more just and equitable society. Chapter 1: Homogeneity, the Danger of Echo Chambers. In the first chapter of Rebel Ideas, Matthew Syed sets the stage by addressing the dangers of homogeneity in decision-making and problem-solving, particularly in environments where people are surrounded by others who think and act just like them. He explains how echo chambers, where individuals are exposed only to information and opinions that reinforce their existing beliefs, limit creativity, stifle innovation, and create significant blind spots. Syed uses the CIA's failure to predict and prevent the 9/11 attacks as a vivid illustration of the perils of homogeneity. He argues that the agency, despite being filled with highly educated and intelligent individuals, was overwhelmingly composed of people who shared the same educational backgrounds, career trajectories, and cultural perspectives. Most of these individuals were from elite Ivy League schools, had military or government backgrounds, and were predominantly white and male. This lack of cognitive diversity, according to Syed, created a narrow approach to problem-solving. When analyzing threats, CIA officers relied on traditional methods and assumptions, failing to consider alternative viewpoints or unconventional tactics that could have foreshadowed the attacks. Syed explains that this kind of homogeneity creates comfort but also reinforces biases. When everyone in a group thinks similarly, they tend to validate each other's ideas and overlook alternative interpretations. In the case of the CIA, this meant that critical pieces of intelligence which could have suggested an impending terrorist attack were dismissed or overlooked because they didn't fit the agency's preconceived notions of how threats would materialize. The dangers of groupthink and echo chambers are not limited to intelligence agencies. Syed argues that this phenomenon can be seen in businesses, governments, and even social movements. When everyone in a decision-making body shares the same perspective, they are more likely to miss crucial details, make poor decisions, and overlook innovative solutions. Syed makes it clear that while homogeneity might make collaboration and decision-making easier in the short term, because everyone is on the same page, it comes with significant long-term risks. In complex, rapidly changing environments, diverse perspectives are crucial for success. He urges readers to break out of their echo chambers and seek out people who think differently, whether in their personal lives, workplaces, or broader society. Chapter 2. Diversity, the Strength of Rebel Ideas. In Chapter 2, Syed delves deeper into the concept of diversity, not just in terms of race, gender, or ethnicity, but more importantly, in terms of cognitive diversity. He explains how diversity of thought is the key to unlocking rebel ideas, innovative and unconventional solutions that challenge established norms and lead to real progress. Syed begins by distinguishing between two types of diversity: identity diversity and cognitive diversity. Identity diversity, which includes race, gender, and other social categories, is important for representation and fairness. However, Syed emphasizes that cognitive diversity, the diversity of experiences, perspectives, and ways of thinking, is what drives innovation and problem-solving. He explains that individuals from different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences see the world in fundamentally different ways. These differences shape the way they approach problems, generate ideas, and come up with solutions. By bringing together people with diverse cognitive backgrounds, organizations and teams can create a collective intelligence that far exceeds the sum of its parts. Syed introduces the concept of rebel ideas, ideas that challenge conventional thinking and break new ground. These ideas often come from the margins, from people who are not steeped in the same assumptions and biases as the majority. He gives examples of how some of the most groundbreaking ideas in history have come from outsiders or individuals with diverse perspectives. Whether in science, technology, or business, innovation often arises when people with different ways of thinking come together to tackle a problem from multiple angles. Syed uses real-world examples to illustrate how diverse groups outperform homogeneous ones. He cites research showing that diverse teams are better at solving complex problems because they bring different perspectives to the table. For example, in scientific research, interdisciplinary teams, composed of scientists from different fields, tend to produce more innovative and impactful work than teams made up of individuals from the same discipline. The chapter also explores how companies like Google, Apple, and Pixar have leveraged cognitive diversity to foster innovation. These companies actively seek out people with different backgrounds and ways of thinking, knowing that it is the collision of ideas from different perspectives that leads to creative breakthroughs. Syed argues that embracing cognitive diversity is not just a nice-to-have, it is a necessity in today's rapidly changing world. Organizations that fail to harness the power of cognitive diversity will find themselves outpaced by those that do. He encourages leaders to create environments where diverse perspectives are valued and where people feel safe to share ideas that challenge the status quo. Chapter 3. Perspective, How We See the World. In Chapter 3, Syed explores the idea that our individual perspectives are shaped by our upbringing, culture, education, and personal experiences. These factors form the lenses through which we interpret the world, and each person's lens is unique. This chapter emphasizes the importance of understanding that everyone sees the world differently, and that no single perspective is complete on its own. Syed explains that our perspectives are shaped by both nature and nurture. From the moment we are born, we begin to form mental models of the world based on our experiences. These models help us navigate life, but they also create blind spots. No matter how intelligent or experienced we are limited by the perspectives we have developed. This is why it is so important to seek out and listen to people with different perspectives. They can help us see what we are missing. The concept of perspective diversity is central to this chapter. Perspective diversity refers to the idea that people with different backgrounds and experiences see the world in different ways, and that by combining these different perspectives, we can gain a fuller, more nuanced understanding of complex problems. Syed uses several real-world examples to illustrate the power of perspective diversity. One example he highlights is the case of an advertising agency that was struggling to create a successful campaign for a new product aimed at teenagers. The agency's team, composed mostly of middle-aged executives, couldn't seem to come up with ideas that resonated with the target audience. It wasn't until the agency brought in a group of teenagers to brainstorm ideas that the campaign finally took off. This example shows how different perspectives can provide fresh insights that would have otherwise been missed. Syed also draws on examples from sports, particularly football, to demonstrate how teams that embrace perspective diversity tend to outperform those that don't. He explains how successful football teams often have players from different cultural backgrounds, each bringing a unique approach to the game. These diverse perspectives allow the team to adapt to different situations on the field and come up with creative strategies that more homogeneous teams might miss. Syed encourages organizations to actively seek out individuals with different perspectives and to create an environment where these perspectives can be shared and valued. He argues that this is particularly important in today's complex and interconnected world, where the challenges we face require a range of perspectives to solve. Chapter 4: The Power of Collective Intelligence. In Chapter 4, Syed builds on the concept of perspective diversity by introducing the idea of collective intelligence. He explains that collective intelligence arises when a group of people pool their knowledge, experiences, and perspectives to solve problems and make decisions. This chapter delves into how diverse groups can outperform even the most intelligent individuals when it comes to solving complex problems. Syed compares collective intelligence to a puzzle, where each piece represents a different perspective or piece of information. No single person has all the pieces, but by working together, the group can assemble the puzzle and arrive at a solution that no individual could have achieved on their own. He cites numerous studies and real-world examples to support his argument. One of the most compelling examples is the story of Google's early success. Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, built a company culture that valued collaboration and cognitive diversity. They believed that the best ideas would come from bringing together people with different expertise and perspectives. This approach allowed Google to innovate rapidly and stay ahead of its competitors. Syed also highlights Pixar, a company known for its creative output and ability to produce hit after hit. Pixar's success, he argues, is rooted in its commitment to collective intelligence. The company has a unique culture where everyone, regardless of rank or title, is encouraged to contribute ideas. This openness to diverse perspectives has allowed Pixar to create some of the most beloved and successful films in history. The chapter also touches on the idea of wisdom of the crowd, where large groups of people can make surprisingly accurate predictions or decisions when their individual perspectives are aggregated. Syed points to examples of prediction markets and crowdsourcing platforms, where the collective intelligence of the crowd often outperforms experts. However, Syed warns that collective intelligence is not a given. It must be cultivated. He explains that for collective intelligence to emerge, groups must be diverse, and individuals must feel comfortable sharing their perspectives. If a group is too homogeneous, or if individuals are afraid to speak up, the potential for collective intelligence is lost. Syed concludes the chapter by encouraging leaders to create environments that foster collective intelligence. This means not only assembling diverse teams, but also ensuring that all voices are heard and valued. When this happens, Syed argues, the power of collective intelligence can lead to breakthroughs in innovation, problem-solving, and decision-making that far surpass what any individual could achieve on their own. Chapter 5: The Perils of Overconfidence. In Chapter 5, Matthew Syed delves into the significant risks posed by overconfidence, particularly among leaders and decision-makers. Overconfidence, Syed explains, often arises from a lack of exposure to diverse ideas and can result in flawed decision-making. When leaders believe they have all the answers or fail to seek input from others, they risk becoming blind to potential problems, alternative solutions, or innovative ideas. Syed emphasizes that overconfidence can be especially damaging in high-stakes environments where decisions impact many people, such as in politics, business, or military operations. He provides examples of leaders who, despite their intelligence and experience, made catastrophic errors because they were insulated from dissenting viewpoints or failed to recognize their own limitations. These leaders, often surrounded by yes-men or like-minded advisors, fall into the trap of groupthink, where their decisions go unchallenged. One striking example Syed provides is the story of the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Political and military leaders, particularly in the United States and the United Kingdom, were so confident in their strategy that they failed to consider warnings from experts who had different perspectives on the potential consequences of such a move. This lack of cognitive diversity in the decision-making process led to disastrous outcomes, including prolonged conflict and instability in the region. Syed points out that had these leaders been more open to alternative viewpoints and more willing to challenge their own assumptions, the decision-making process could have been far more balanced and, potentially, less harmful. The antidote to overconfidence, Syed argues, is humility and openness. Leaders must recognize that no one person, no matter how intelligent or experienced, has a complete understanding of complex issues. Syed advocates for the cultivation of environments where diverse perspectives are welcomed and valued, and where leaders actively seek out opinions that differ from their own. He shares stories of leaders who succeeded because they embraced cognitive diversity and encouraged dissenting voices. For example, Syed highlights Winston Churchill during World War II, who famously surrounded himself with advisors who were unafraid to challenge his decisions. Churchill's willingness to listen to diverse perspectives was a key factor in many of the successful strategies employed during the war. In the end, Syed concludes that leaders must learn to balance confidence in their abilities with the humility to recognize the value of other perspectives. By fostering a culture of intellectual humility and actively seeking out cognitive diversity, leaders can make better decisions and avoid the pitfalls of overconfidence. Chapter 6: Innovation, Thinking Differently. In Chapter 6, Syed explores the critical role of cognitive diversity in driving innovation. He argues that true innovation arises not from following established paths or thinking within conventional frameworks, but from challenging the status quo and encouraging people to think differently. Cognitive diversity, Syed explains, is essential for fostering an environment where creative ideas can flourish. Syed begins by describing how innovation often comes from individuals or groups who are outside of the traditional power structures or dominant fields. These outsiders bring fresh perspectives and challenge the assumptions that insiders may take for granted. He provides the example of the creation of the Internet, which was not developed by a single individual or group, but through the collaboration of diverse minds from various disciplines. Computer science, engineering, mathematics, and even the social sciences. The Internet's development required people to think beyond the limits of their fields, blending knowledge from different areas to create something entirely new. Syed also examines innovation in the corporate world, highlighting how companies that embrace cognitive diversity are more likely to succeed in today's fast-paced and rapidly changing markets. He cites examples from leading tech companies like Apple and Google, which actively cultivate environments where diverse ideas are encouraged. For instance, Apple's groundbreaking products, from the iPhone to the Mac, came about because the company fostered a culture of collaboration between designers, engineers, and marketing experts, each bringing their unique perspective to the table. The ability to think differently and challenge established norms allowed Apple to revolutionize the tech industry. Syed contrasts this with companies that failed to innovate because they were stuck in echo chambers of like-minded individuals. Blockbuster, for example, once dominated the video rental market, but it failed to see the potential of online streaming and digital services. The company's leadership, composed of people who had long thrived in the traditional rental model, could not envision a different future. In contrast, Netflix, with its diverse approach and willingness to disrupt its own business model, thrived by embracing new technologies and changing consumer behaviors. In this chapter, Syed also stresses the importance of fostering a culture of experimentation within organizations. Innovation, he argues, cannot happen in an environment that punishes failure. Instead, organizations need to create spaces where individuals feel comfortable taking risks, testing new ideas, and learning from mistakes. He highlights the example of Google's X Lab, where some of the most ambitious and groundbreaking ideas are nurtured, such as self-driving cars and renewable energy innovations. These projects often start with many failures, but the culture of experimentation and openness to failure allows Google to push the boundaries of what is possible. Ultimately, Syed concludes that cognitive diversity and a willingness to think differently are the engines of innovation. By breaking down silos, encouraging collaboration across disciplines, and fostering a culture of experimentation, organizations can unlock their potential for creative breakthroughs. Chapter 7: Leadership: Harnessing Diverse Ideas. In Chapter 7, Syed turns his attention to leadership, focusing on how effective leaders can harness the power of cognitive diversity to drive success. He argues that great leaders recognize the value of diverse ideas and create environments where these ideas can flourish. Leadership, in Syed's view, is not about having all the answers or making all the decisions, but about facilitating collaboration and encouraging creative thinking from a range of perspectives. Syed begins by discussing the traditional model of leadership, where authority is concentrated in a single individual or a small group of decision-makers. In this model, leaders are often seen as the source of wisdom and direction, and their subordinates are expected to follow their lead. However, Syed argues that this top-down approach is inherently limited because it relies on the knowledge and perspectives of a few people, rather than tapping into the collective intelligence of the group. He suggests that in today's complex and fast-moving world, this traditional model is no longer effective. Instead, leaders must learn to harness the power of cognitive diversity by encouraging open dialogue and collaboration. Syed shares the story of Nelson Mandela, whose leadership style exemplified the power of inclusivity and collaboration. When Mandela was elected as South Africa's first black president, the country was deeply divided along racial and political lines. Mandela understood that in order to heal these divisions and create a united nation, he needed to bring together people from all sides of the conflict. He established a government that included members from both the African National Congress, ANC, and the former apartheid regime, ensuring that diverse voices were heard. Mandela's ability to listen to and respect different perspectives allowed him to lead South Africa through a period of profound transformation. Syed contrasts Mandela's leadership style with that of more authoritarian leaders who stifle dissent and discourage diverse ideas. He provides examples from the corporate world, where CEOs who insist on having the final say often drive their companies into stagnation. These leaders, Syed argues, are blinded by their own egos and fail to recognize the value of the perspectives around them. In contrast, leaders who prioritize collaboration and cognitive diversity are better equipped to navigate complex challenges and seize new opportunities. Syed also emphasizes the importance of empathy in leadership. Empathy allows leaders to understand the experiences and perspectives of others, creating a more inclusive and supportive environment. When leaders demonstrate empathy, they encourage their teams to share their ideas without fear of judgment or reprisal. This sense of psychological safety is crucial for fostering cognitive diversity and ensuring that all voices are heard. To foster cognitive diversity, Syed suggests that leaders must actively work to dismantle hierarchical barriers within their organizations. He points to companies like Pixar, where senior executives sit side by side with junior employees in open workspaces, fostering an environment of equality and collaboration. At Pixar, the Brain Trust meetings, where directors and creative teams gather to review projects, are designed to ensure that everyone's voice is heard, regardless of their position in the company. This open, collaborative environment is one of the reasons why Pixar has consistently produced some of the most innovative and successful films in the animation industry. In conclusion, Syed argues that leadership in the modern world is about facilitating the collective intelligence of the group, rather than imposing the will of a single individual. By embracing cognitive diversity, encouraging open dialogue, and fostering a culture of empathy and collaboration, leaders can harness the full potential of their teams. Chapter 8: Collaboration: Building Effective Teams. In Chapter 8, Syed explores how to build and maintain effective teams that leverage cognitive diversity. He stresses that bringing together a diverse group of individuals is not enough on its own. Teams must also foster a culture of trust, psychological safety, and openness to diverse ideas in order to succeed. Syed begins by discussing the concept of psychological safety, which refers to the belief that team members can speak up, share ideas, and take risks without fear of being judged or punished. Psychological safety is a critical component of successful collaboration because it allows people to contribute their unique perspectives without hesitation. Syed cites research by Harvard professor Amy Edmondson, who found that teams with high levels of psychological safety are more innovative, adaptable, and effective than teams where individuals feel they must conform or hold back their ideas. Syed explains that in environments where psychological safety is lacking, team members are more likely to engage in groupthink, where they conform to the dominant opinions in order to avoid conflict or judgment. This stifles cognitive diversity and limits the potential for innovative problem-solving. He emphasizes that leaders and team members alike must actively work to create an atmosphere of trust and openness, where everyone feels comfortable contributing their ideas. Syed also addresses the importance of creating a culture that values experimentation and learning from failure. In highly successful teams, failure is not seen as something to be avoided, but as an opportunity to learn and improve. Syed points to companies like Amazon, where a willingness to take risks and embrace failure is deeply ingrained in the corporate culture. Amazon encourages employees to experiment with new ideas, even if they don't always succeed. This culture of experimentation has led to groundbreaking innovations like Amazon Web Services, AWS, which revolutionized the tech industry. To build effective teams, Syed argues that leaders must prioritize diversity in hiring and team composition. He suggests that rather than focusing solely on technical skills or experience, leaders should look for individuals who bring different perspectives and cognitive approaches to the team. This includes people from diverse cultural backgrounds, as well as those with varied educational and professional experiences. By assembling teams that reflect a wide range of perspectives, organizations can tap into the collective intelligence needed to solve complex problems. Syed also provides practical advice for fostering collaboration within diverse teams. He emphasizes the importance of clear communication, active listening, and respect for different viewpoints. He suggests that teams use structured decision-making processes, such as brainstorming sessions or decision matrices, to ensure that all ideas are considered and evaluated on their merits. In conclusion, Syed argues that the power of collaboration lies in the ability to combine diverse perspectives and ideas in a way that generates creative solutions. By fostering psychological safety, encouraging experimentation, and building teams that reflect cognitive diversity, organizations can create environments where collaboration thrives and innovation flourishes. Conclusion: the future of rebel thinking. In the conclusion of Rebel Ideas, Syed reflects on the future of cognitive diversity and its potential to transform organizations, societies, and even personal lives. He reaffirms the central message of the book, that the most innovative and effective solutions come from diverse groups of people who bring different perspectives to the table. Syed believes that as the world becomes more interconnected and complex, the need for cognitive diversity will only increase. Syed revisits the key themes of the book, emphasizing the importance of breaking down echo chambers, fostering environments that value diverse ideas, and embracing the collective intelligence that emerges from collaboration. He argues that the future belongs to those who understand the power of cognitive diversity and use it to drive progress in all areas of life. Looking ahead, Syed suggests that cognitive diversity will play a crucial role in addressing the most pressing challenges of our time, from climate change to global inequality. He believes that by bringing together people with different perspectives and experiences, we can unlock new solutions to these complex problems. Syed ends the book with a call to action. He urges readers to challenge conventional thinking, seek out diverse perspectives, and create environments where creativity and collaboration can thrive. Whether you are a leader, a team member, or simply someone looking to innovate in your own life, Rebel Ideas shows that success comes from embracing diversity of thought and unlocking the potential of collective intelligence. Call to action: Matthew Syed's Rebel Ideas offers a powerful blueprint for harnessing the power of cognitive diversity in all aspects of life. Whether you are leading an organization, working in a team, or seeking to make a difference in your own life, the lessons of this book are clear. Success and innovation come from embracing diverse perspectives, challenging the status quo, and fostering environments where all voices are heard. Take action today by actively seeking out new ideas, building diverse teams, and creating spaces where collaboration and creativity can thrive. By doing so, you can unlock the potential of rebel ideas and contribute to a more innovative, inclusive, and successful future.